We talked a little bit about that on Monday with Jared Jones in studio. We got another special guest for you today. Coach Jay Johnson joining us again in a different atmosphere than we've ever seen him. They are en route to College Station for a big weekend series against Texas A&M.
Times are tough.
And this is my favorite part. I've talked about it. I enjoyed the few bus rides that we got. They are taking the bus down to College Station, and Coach Jay Johnson joins us from the bus. So you get a little behind the scenes, see what's going on. Coach, looks great. Y'all look great. Appreciate you joining us. I know y'all are on this bus ride. What's the bus ride snack?
Yeah, 2 waters.
Oh, there you go.
I'm pretty simple. I'm not as tall and pretty as you and Jared Mitchell, so I gotta getting older and gotta keep it in check.
Gotta hydrate. Bus rides are always fun. Obviously, y'all are coming off a big weekend at home against Tennessee, going to another big weekend on the road this weekend against Texas A&M. Atmosphere with around the amongst the team and around the boys has to be pretty good. I want to jump right into last weekend before we kind of get into last night and this upcoming weekend. Obviously, Friday night's game was epic. 3.5-hour rain delay. I'm proud to say me and Lloyd stuck it out through the entire time we were there to the very end. Electric finish. How awesome was that? Obviously, Tennessee LSU over the last few 4 or 5 years, they've had this budding rivalry. A lot of chippiness. Obviously, competition runs high. Y'all were kind of, I don't want to say left for dead there, but 3-0. Y'all hadn't really had a bunch of hits. Then all of a sudden, the magic of Alex box happens. Get a couple guys on. Huge base hit from Beck, and then obviously Curiel, and then the Mamo homer. Talk me through, leading up to the ninth, and talk me through the ninth and how awesome that was.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think in the game, it was very odd, and I think it's just a credit to their pitcher, Doyle, how good he is. I thought we actually competed in the box very well against him. And the one thing we were able to do is we were able to get him out, a little earlier, than Cade went out of the game. And I think that definitely made a difference. And it took Nate Snead, their closer, who's been very successful there. It took his pitch count, up a little bit, and they left the door open, with a couple defensive miscues in the ninth, and that's what good teams do. They take advantage of opportunities, and so I'm just real proud of the fight in that inning. Ethan Fry, it's very fast for his size. Going hard 90 all the way down the line, and beats that out or forces an errant throw. Jake Brown getting the ball in play right there, and his speed, creating, a hurry play and eventually a non-play, big at bat by Tanner Reeves, to draw a walk. And that's kind of his carrying tool. It's his plate discipline. And then you look at, Dalton, obviously that was a huge at bat. And then, we made an out, and then Derek got down to 2 strikes and did what he does. And what was kind of cool about that, he sent me a text the night before about hey, I'm not going to hit any double plays this weekend. This guy I'm first, I'm going to rip it through the right side. And that's literally exactly what he did. Yeah. And then awesome swing by Jared. And we got a mistake, and one of the farthest balls I've ever seen hit. And then, as far as what actually happened, it was unbelievable. I wasn't losing my mind or anything, but it was wait a minute, that just happened right there. And it was cool. I just kind of started watching the players, and the coaches came by. It was definitely a hug game instead of a handshake game when you win, and then all of a sudden, I like all kinds of music, but this rap music came over the stadium. I don't even know what it was, and the fans are going crazy, and it was really cool, and I was really proud of our team. I think this team's been really good in close games and has been really, really good at coming from behind. And it's a very valuable win, not just in the standings, but how we won. And it was one of the coolest regular season games I've been a part of.
Coach, we've talked about this a lot throughout the course of the year, and how whenever you call somebody's number, they always seem to be ready and come up with a big hit, whether it be, Josh Pearson not playing for a few games coming off the bench, Jake Brown not getting a start today coming off the bench. Dalton Beck, he comes off the bench, has 7 at-bats all year, 1 SEC at-bat. Coming out, he was a transfer, has a lot of experience in college, and he comes up in probably the biggest moment, maybe potentially of his career at that time, and against a team that the offense hasn't really done much against up to that point in the game, bases loaded, and hits an absolute laser up the middle. Thank God didn't hit the pitcher, because I don't know if the game would end up the same way, but laser up the middle. Talk about that, and is there anything specific that you told to him before that at bat?
Yeah, with the guys that can pinch hit, you mentioned, sometimes it's Pearson, it's been Brown, Dalton, Ashton Larson, John Pearson, Fry, if he's not starting a game, even though he starts most of the games. We'll obviously go over the plan for the starting pitcher, and then we'll kind of keyhole some guys that we like for matchups and show them those guys. And, Snead is really, really tough on right-handed hitters. And, he's huge piece of their national championship last year. And so it was a real no-brainer, to stack the left-handed at bat, up there. And he got a good look. He got the count in his favor. And I think what I took from it is he was just incredibly slowed down. He looked so under control to me.
Yes, he did.
And I thought he used his at bat against Alabama the week before as a real positive for this one. And I had a lot of faith he was going to take quality at bat, and that was exactly what we needed right there.
Coach Jared's got one for you.
Yeah, Coach. Hey, by the way, it looked like y'all having a good time on this bus ride right now. Everybody's really locked in right now. I like where we're going.
Yeah. I didn't even tell them I was going to be on this. So if somebody's not doing what they're supposed to, it's on them. You know what I mean? So,
Coach, I want to know.
Other than this interview, I'm watching the Aggies right now. So I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
There you go. Okay. All right. Look, I know this weekend was a big weekend. I know you guys treat every game and every series as if it is, like you said, the 56-game playoff, and that's great. I want to know if there was anything that was learned or reaffirmed by what you saw from your team this past weekend.
Yeah, I think, and I told him this Friday's game, we kind of, even it was late, and we didn't necessarily, I don't want to say we played bad. We had an unbelievable pitcher doing what the top pitchers do, but I thought we competed, and I felt like we got a little bit of whatever you want to call our mojo back or our swagger back in that game. And then it was validated even more by being able to come back and win. And then, on Saturday, hey man, they one of the best teams in the country. They got a great pitching performance. They got a couple big hits, and they beat us. And when you play in our league, that's going to happen. But I really liked the maturity after the game. We dumped some things, a good meeting after the game, dumped some things off. And then I loved the response and the readiness on Sunday. And that didn't start out perfect either. We gave up 2 in the top of the first, and Casey settled in and dominated. And then, offensively, we did a good job of getting back on our plan. We managed the zone, got some free bases, really pounded some mistakes, hitting the clutch, got a bunt down that led to a couple runs. And, we just really want to be a complete team. And obviously the series win is big and all of that. But, I was smiling going out of there just about how we played. I thought we played the brand of baseball that will be the most successful for this team, as we move forward in the schedule and continue to face these great challenges we have in front of us.
Speaking of how you played, now I know you've been talking about this guy for a long time and wanting to get him on campus for a long time. I do think it's fair to say, though, it almost seemed as if this weekend was somewhat legit, kind of a coming out party for him, and he's been unbelievable all year. Watching Curiel play, seeing him do it on this level, what about his game kind of, I guess, surprises you the most, or has been the one thing where you're like, man, it's even better than I thought it was?
Yeah, I think, you guys know this, you've played with a ton of players that have have talent, but the real guys, like the dudes, like what's inside the person is the separator.
Yeah.
And how they respond to things in the fashion that they need to, whether that's success, like no complacency, they show up as the same guy every single day to put the work in, to compete. He to be honest, hadn't had a whole lot of failure, and he had to, I guess, I didn't even really realize it, but I guess he did get on base on Saturday, and that's the first game that he hadn't got on base all year. And, actually, I mean, I kind of got into him in that game about, something, and that's what your best players do. Like, they respond properly. And I said this like 3 times, like his game on Sundays. Oh, the best games I've ever seen from my players at any time.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. So I don't know if I'm surprised. I just think the maturity, the mental and emotional stability is allowing him to take those skills and put them on display often. And that's what great players do. They play near their capability often. That's what great teams do. They play near their capability often, and that's what he's doing.
Coach, obviously going back to Friday, just a wild day in general going into the night. There was obviously a situation that happened when Ashton Larson was coming up to hit, and then there seemed to be a bit of a misunderstanding, miscommunication of the rules. I'm not sure that I've ever seen a pitcher that was already in be able to start throwing again from the mound, get a couple warm-ups in. Did you ever get an explanation of that entire scenario and kind of where your head was at with what was going on?
Yeah, I've actually only seen it happen one other time, which, I knew the rule. And so they made a mound of it twice with the same pitcher for the same hitter. And you can't do that, number one. And if you do it, he has to finish the hitter. Like, you can't remove him if you've gone out twice unless there's an injury. So he has to finish the hitter, but then you have to remove him. And then, like, the only thing I was frustrated about was, like, they were calling the league office to make sure that they had it right. Meanwhile, the rest of their bullpen is just getting a billion reps down there to get warm to come in the game. And that's like, you guys know the rule. I mean,
I can tell you
all umpires are great at rules. I'm like C+, to be honest, but I actually knew this one, you know, and so I was more like, hey, like, let's go. Like, let's get the game moving, kind of thing. So, and it was fine. And it was a little odd timing because I had just called an offensive timeout in the middle of a bat because Ashton was really not happy about or one of the called strikes that he got. And I just wanted to, that was a big spot in the game. So I was like, hey, I got you. I understand. But we got to refocus here and take a tough at bat with 2 strikes, and so I don't know if they thought because I called the offensive timeout that they had a free trip or free visit. So I can't speak to that, but I was just more like, hey, I get it. He's got to come out after the next hitter. Like, let's not delay the game and get their pitcher a bunch of reps down there. Like, if they messed it up, then they should pay the penalty for it. So let's go.
Was there any thought of putting Ashton Larson in the box while the pitcher that was currently on the mound so he could no longer throw to keep him kind of ice cold, just let Larson dig in a little bit?
Well, no, and we have really good umpires in the league, but they were like on the phone. Like, they actually got on the phone and called the league office. I mean, like I said, I got checked twice last year, so I'm not I'm staying out of all of that kind of stuff this year. I just want to put our team in a competitive advantage, and it's like, let's get the game started. Like, I don't care about all that. Like, get the game started,
And they closed the bar.
Yeah, they did.
Time to get rolling.
It's all part of it. We got a free
whiskey shot.
A little whiskey shot after you hit the walk-off, which is great. Coach, listen, I know y'all are traveling, so I don't want to keep you too long, but I want to talk a little bit about this upcoming series. Obviously, every weekend in the SEC is a monumental weekend, especially when you come down to in the stretch run, especially when you're going on the road against a team that is talented and has struggled early in the season, has been playing a lot of really good baseball as of late. And I don't want to call them desperate, but somewhat desperate as far as, hey, every win for them actually really does matter to get them where they need to be. What's this weekend look like for y'all? Obviously, they have their number one starter, obviously, is experienced and really good. It's going to be a really good Friday night matchup. What is the conversation, what is something that A&M is, I guess, the problems that they pose for you?
Well, they're 1,000% an Omaha caliber team. Yeah. If you look at their last 3 weeks, they lost. They got swept at Texas, but Texas is number one. It was on the road, and they lost 3 games by 1 run. Somebody told me they for the go-ahead run on base in the 9th inning every game. So that's about as tight a series, it sounds like, as you could get swept. And then the previous 2 weekends, they won the series on the road at Arkansas. I think they swept South Carolina maybe. And then before that, they won the series at Tennessee. So it's a team playing really good baseball. And they have a good lineup. They have dangerous hitters and really good starting rotation. 3 really good starters. So, it's just, it's game on. It's no different than last weekend or the weekend before that or the weekend before that.
I know you're not going to divulge this information, obviously, because it's part of the advantage, but you made a change, and I think it's based off of kind of how the weekend went and who you used and who you didn't use. And Sunday, and you started Kason Evans, his first start in his career, like you mentioned earlier, give up 2 runs, and then was absolutely nails and lights out the rest of the way. Went 6 innings, dominant performance by him. I know that when you recruited him, you knew that he probably was eventually going to be a starter. Talk about his performance, and is that something that we could potentially see a lot more of in the near future?
Well, it was a great performance. I mean, just based on the numbers, 2 runs, 6 innings. But for me, I looked a lot deeper into it of he gave up the 2. And I think one of the most undervalued, underappreciated things of the game was they had runners on second and third also in the first inning with 2 outs, and we got out of it. And you guys know chasing 2 runs is a lot different than chasing 4 runs. Yeah. And I think it allowed our offense to relax and just play, and we ended up playing a really good game on offense. And then I love to see pitchers get stronger as the game goes along. I think he certainly did that. I heard something, I think it was up late, and they just happened to be replaying the game the other night, and I think there was only 2 base runners in the last 5 innings or something like that. And I knew he was rolling pretty good, but that's pretty dominant, especially against a lineup as good as Tennessee. So it was a great performance. We have a good pitching staff. I think he's one of the most important pitchers on the staff, one of the best pitchers on the staff, which is why I've had him in the role that he's in. And I do obviously think he's a starter for sure. But he's also been really successful with how we've been using him. So, we'll see. And the good part about him is he's compete. He wants the ball, and it's a really good thing for our team, regardless of what time he has the ball, that he does.
Yep. Coach, look, I'm going to let you go and continue your scouting. Question, though. Movie of choice, what's playing right
300.
now? What is playing right now for the boys? Is it quiet? Is it quiet time?
Let's see what we got on. We got a baseball game on. We got, it looks like a repeat of last night's Kennesaw State, Georgia game on.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So I guess we're rolling with the SEC network.
Yeah, all ball all the time.
Cable on the bus.
Maybe you're going to see a little Jared Mitchell on there. Maybe a little rerun of SEC Now from this past weekend with Jay Mitch.
No. That's already in the late files.
Hey, man. Hey, no, I saw you on TV the other night, man. You're crushing it. So, I'm ready for the fall. They got to extend you to football, too. So you're 2A, 2-sport guy in college. Now you go.
We're working on it.
What you're doing right here. I love the endorsement. This is good stuff right here.
Hey, he looked good in the green suit, huh? The green suit was slick.
Yeah, it's I think we got to get you a purple jacket. Gold
I'll do it.
No
they
doubt.
know already, all right?
No doubt.
Keep representing, Jared. Good job.
Coach, y'all keep representing. Good luck this weekend. Obviously, we'll be watching, and then we will talk to you again next week. We appreciate you always.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
All right, Coach. You too.